Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream. Back here in a raised bed garden in the backyard, I have a dilemma. I need something that I can't get from any of the local plant nurseries around here because of the COVID-19 enhanced community quarantine. So I just decided to use something that I have right here in my own backyard as a substitute that I bet most of you don't realize you have as a great resource in your backyard. That is going to be the first part of today's episode. We're going to get into that. So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Like I said in the intro this morning, I am sitting back here in the raised bed garden on top of the cistern. And one of the things that I would like to do today, I would like to add some mulch, specifically around those new cantaloupe seedlings that we put in about a week ago. Normally what I would use is this. This is rice hull. This is rice hull. This is what happens after the farmers get done with the rice and they're shaking, getting all the rice out. And this is the remnants. And this has a couple of really good purposes. Instead of throwing this away, what you can do, this is absorbent. You can add this like a compost to your existing soil. You can complement your soil with rice hull. Or what you can do is you can burn it. And as you've seen in some previous episodes as well, this turns into what's called carbonized rice hull. I don't have any more around here right now, but it looks like ash. It almost looks like that volcanic ash that dropped all over our backyard and our house during the Taal volcano eruption earlier this year. Anyway, this is important. You can pretty much use this as a starter as well for some seedlings, as many of the plant nurseries around here do. But we can't get to any plant nurseries right now, so our dilemma is, what do we do in the meantime? Now, I don't know if you realize this, but you have a great resource in your backyard. It is your backyard. If you have grass, especially the type of grass that we grow here at Villa Feliz, one of the three major grasses here in the Philippines. Remember, you have carabao, you have froggrass, and you have bluegrass, and there's some other varieties, rye, and but the main three varieties, carabao, froggrass, and bluegrass, are normally what you have here in the Philippines. Now, bluegrass makes an excellent compost. It makes an excellent mulch for those of you who need something like that in a pressing time like this. It's a resource you have inside your backyard. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to cut the yard, and I'm going to use some of the clippings that I will collect inside my lawnmower bag, and we're going to use it for back here inside the raised bed garden, and I'll show you how that works. Now, one of the nice things about having 365 days of the year of this beautiful weather is you get this nice vegetation 365 days of the year here in the Philippines. Unlike most of the places around North America where I'm from, where we have four very unique seasons, and one of them being wintertime, is everything is pretty much dormant, and it looks like it almost kind of dies in a lot of places. Now back here, that comes along with all of this sunny days and a lot of the heat, especially during this time of year, is the ground tends to dry out really quick. This is still wet here from the watering this morning. The automatic sprinkler system watered all this area, which is making our cantaloupe back here, our melons, it's making them very happy. Now, I want to show you something real quick. Can you tell the difference between these and these over here? It's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of hard to tell unless you know what you planted, because they look almost the same. And they are very similar type of vines, but they are totally different types of vegetables, fruits and vegetables. These are, like I said earlier, these are melons or cantaloupe. These are cantaloupe over here. All of these are cantaloupe. And this over here, these are cucumbers. So you really need to do what I often don't do. You really need to identify what your seeds are and put them in the right place, because over here we want to put the cantaloupe, and it's okay when we're going to clean this area. We're going to allow them to grow out here, and we'll get big. Hopefully we'll get some big cantaloupe out here. But we would not want to put the cucumbers over in this area. We want to put them up against the wall and allow them to vine. This is going to be vining type of a style. And you can grow cucumber inside your bed on the ground, but it also introduces a challenge. It introduces a challenge mostly with insects, and also with the cucumber touching the soil. It can introduce things like bacteria, or you can have issues with your cucumbers growing on the ground. Here, diseases, I'm trying to say. So we're going to take those in about a week, once the roots establish very well, because cucumbers have very shallow, at first, very shallow root structure. Then we're going to clean up this area over here, and we're going to start moving them and hopefully allow them to vine. And we're going to talk a little bit more about cucumbers later on. Now, I moved my cucumber seedlings here. I moved them back over here in the shade. It gets indirect sunlight, and my recommendation is when you first start out your seeds, start them in a shaded area, maybe by your window where it gets indirect sunlight. But don't put them in direct sunlight, because they will get some major stress. And once they've established very well inside the little planter and you've got good root structure, then you can slowly move them to a more lighted area, then get them out inside your regular garden you have under full sunlight, if it's the type of a fruit or vegetable that likes full sunlight. You see my carrots are starting to really take off right here. Also, a neat thing, if you have eggs, remember I try to repurpose everything around here, cookie boxes, ice cream boxes. Also, if you have egg crates, what you can do with your egg crate, like what I did here, let's move this over here, you can take your egg crate and cut it in half. Normally it comes just like this right here, remember, in the top folds over. And then what you could do, you can drill a hole in the bottom of each one of the individual egg holders, a little hole for drainage. Put some of your favorite potting soil inside there, your starter soil, and then take the portion that would normally be the bottom of the egg crate and put it right into the top of the egg crate. Now what I do is I leave a couple openings right here with holes, and I use this to fill water. I pour water inside here, and it will allow water to go into the bottom, so I never have to lift this up, and it will continue to allow to have some water in the bottom of your little seeder that you have right here, that you start your seeds with. Right now inside here I have some more string beans, and I want to show you. Remember the string beans? I have a story to tell you about that's going to correct some information that I talked about the other day about my magic string beans. Now let's go back out here quickly to the raised bed garden, because I need to cut some grass. I need to make some mulch. But you remember, this is my string bean garden right here, this portion right here that they vine up, and I'm going to debunk one of my own myths. Remember I said last week, if you watched last week's episode, I said I think we got like 16 inches of growth of string beans in 2 days. That's 8 inches a day. And I'm thinking to myself, how can that be? Is this Jack and the Beanstalk, or for all intents and purposes we'll call it James and the Beanstalk? Remember the magic beans that grew all the way up into the clouds, and well, you know the story, especially if you're from North America. Well, anyway, it did not grow. Somehow I must have missed the beginning of the growth of those green beans. So what I did, I found a green bean yesterday that was growing back here, and I checked the length of it yesterday, and this morning when I woke up I checked it again. So in about, I'm gonna say maybe about 12 to 18 hours or something like that, it's actually growing about 2 inches plus. Let me show you where it was yesterday, the one I found growing. Right now, this green bean right here, I kind of measured it up to this little section right here. Now yesterday evening, when I was cleaning up around here, around the garden, it was up to about this point right here. So about this point. So then I woke up this morning, I came back, and I thought to myself, am I gonna see 8 inches more growth? Well, no, I had about this much more growth right here, about 2 inches of growth. So I think that's more realistic about what my pole beans, my green beans are growing. About 2 inches, I'd say, per day. But that's pretty good also. Now I'm going to get the old lawnmower out. I'm going to do a little bit of some grass cutting this morning before it gets too hot. Normally you should cut your grass early in the morning or late in the afternoon so you don't put a stress on your grass from the heat in the middle of the day. So that's what I'm going to do. And I think what I'm going to cut, I think I'm just going to cut this morning enough to get some mulch for the raised bed garden, for those cantaloupe, for those fruit inside there. And I'm going to cut the grass from that strip that's on the outside, on the side of our house, on the back of the house, of my neighbors. And that grass is doing really good. I watered it again last night, and it's actually thicker and greener than what we have inside here. But they have unique shade that they get. They only get about half of a day of full sunshine because of the shade that happens from the wall itself. So anyway, the shade sometimes really helps out with bluegrass. If it gets too much sun, you end up getting areas that are kind of in stress like we have here. But once the backyard here gets lots of trees, all these fruit trees, and we have indirect sunlight most of the day on all of the grass back here, it's going to be very rich, green, and lush. Now this grass clipping, this is exactly what we're looking for. We're going to use this as mulch in the backyard. But I decided, since it's still a little early this morning, I am going to I'm going to tackle the front yard, knock this out because it's getting a little shaggy. The grass grows faster up in the front because of some of the shading we have and the aggressive watering. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it inside the wheelbarrow here. I'm also going to add it to some existing soil, and I'm going to start building some compost. Now, if you're building your own compost, there's different types of recipes that you can have. But when you're using grass, just make sure you don't put too much grass inside it. It's really high in nitrogen, but also if you have too much grass, it becomes too aerated, and you don't have enough of the texture of the dirt and the soil inside here to be able to formulate around the root structure of your plants. But it's great for a topping because the nitrogen breaks down. It adds that great nutrient to the roots inside your plants and your vegetables. So I'm going to knock out the front yard, and then I'll show you how I spread the mulch in the raised bed garden. Alright, now that I've collected the grass clippings, I'm going to go ahead and put it down in this area. I got to get it down. I got to admit something to you. I have a compulsive disorder. It's because I said I was just going to grab some of the grass from the outside of the yard, and then I decided to do the front yard, then I decided to do the backyard, then I decided to do the side yard. I did the whole yard. It needed to be done, and this evening when it cools down a little bit, I'll do the edging. I don't know what it is. I see some that's done, and then I look at the rest of it and I'm like, oh, I can't let this go. It's uneven. It's not symmetrical. Remember, I'm into symmetrics. Well, anyway, let's get back to the matter at hand, which is going to be putting the mulch down. Now, when you put mulch down in a raised bed garden, you don't want to put it too thick. It's not like you would put the rice hull or something like that on the outside, which drains very, very quickly. But in the garden above your vegetables, you really only want about a quarter of an inch. Because if you put too much of the grass, as mulch on your vegetable garden, it leaves it open for disease because it'll stay wet and it'll kind of get moldy and it'll start growing things inside there that aren't really good for your plants. What you want to do, you want to create a shade, a small shade that blocks the sun from drying out your soil so quickly. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put down a little bit of the grass clippings in this area right here. And then later on, when I clean out some of the strawberry plants and move them elsewhere, I'll continue working the rest of the garden. Alright, well that's good enough for this area right here. It's already got some moisture. It has water in the soil right now. This will just keep it from drying out. So we're done with this project now. Alright, well that's about it for today. I'm kind of hiding. I'm trying to find the shady spots. This is her Zen garden. It's really nice this time of the morning. The bridge is right behind us over here, so I got a good view. Got a nice breeze coming through. Now before I close out today's episode, I have one birthday shout out. And the birthday shout out goes to Jeff Mickelson, who is turning 48 today. Actually turned 48 on April 29th here. 28 still somewhere in the world as I'm recording this. So Jeff, he actually lives in Negros, OCC, and even though he's a USAF retiree, he's also continuing to work for the USAF as a contractor over in Oman at Thumrait Air Base. So anyway, to you Jeff, I want to wish you a happy birthday. I'm going to close for now. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Even though it was nothing but some grass clippings that most people would normally throw away, there's a lot of good uses for that. And it's a recycling thing, and it has to do with being green, being as green as possible. And that's what we always want to achieve to make our environment healthier. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please share. And if you have not subscribed, just click on that little MPID dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You will be subscribed and you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So until such time, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.